Well, I don't think I can think about this track the same way ever since in 2021 someone blasted Super Max on this track. And anyways, welcome back to United Racing League. Today we are doing Division 8 Season 4. This is race number 8 in Circuit Zandvoort in the Netherlands, home of reigning world champion Max Verstappen in 2022. And I think he took victory in this track in 2021. Is that
He
correct?
did. Yeah, he did in front of Lewis Hamilton. He gave him a really good fight, but with overtaking being so difficult around here, at least last season, no chance against Verstappen.
Yeah. Um, and yeah, we just started qualifying, and everyone's leaving the pits, and they're starting their outlap. Riding right now with Toxic Planet, who was the second person to drive out of the pits. In front of him is an Alfa Romeo, and it's Alan Liam.
Cienzik?
Wait, no, it's not Alan Liam. It's
No.
Cienzik.
Cienzik. Yeah, on the medium tire, which isn't usually the start tire, the tire to start on. Therefore, I think he will just do a run on those medium tires, and then to the end of qualifying, he will go into the soft tire.
I think somebody must have spun in Sector 2. I was just looking at the track map, and it was two Red Bulls that just stopped.
I think they're letting pass them. I think it's just letting drivers pass, finding the right position on track, because it is a very short track, so drivers need to be careful in qualifying to leave the space. We don't have a lot of space around here, similar to Hungary, but there's still space to leave. There's still space you can give to those drivers who are on the flying lap, which is Cienzik on right now. A little bit of oversteer, a little snap on the exit of turn, I think turn 8, and now second sector of 39.5. To be honest, I haven't driven this track on this game so far, so no clue on what times we will see now. I'm not sure whether you've done any practice around here yet, but
I mean,
yeah.
I've played this track a while ago on the PC version of this game. I haven't played it on PS4. I don't think it would make much of a difference. But as we're talking about this, Cienzik currently sets the fastest lap in the Alfa Romeo, 1:11.08. Pretty solid.
That, however, will be beaten by... Oh no, it won't! Then he made a mistake. President had a really good second sector, but he made a mistake probably in the third sector. T2 1:11.3, of course, two different sets of tires for now. Alan Liam crosses the line, goes 5 times quicker on a soft tire as Gacho Silver joined. He will be in a Mercedes later on in qualifying, and then there will be one more driver joining in qualifying later on when the update has finished.
Yeah, so if you're watching this, make sure that you update your game before you race, whether you're in a racing league, whether it's this one, whether racing in tomorrow's race, or wherever in the week. Just make sure you update your game so that we don't have this problem. As
Yeah, it's over
Alan
the
Liam
Monday,
goes
of
a little
course.
wide and goes to the gravel and he spins.
Same with David. So he actually improved to P3, but still he spun. Even Chris in P4, but Matter P2, which is really good for him in the championship. Of course, we have Marcus, who of course retired already because he has a quali ban. He is the championship leader at the moment with Bad Matter on P2. So Bad Matter with a win today could actually potentially get P1 in the championship.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a very interesting thing we'll see if... Sorry, what was that?
Always. No,
Yeah.
no. Always, I was about to say.
But yeah, if Marcus somehow clutches it by doing a last to first kind of finish, that'll be interesting to see. Let's see. I'm just looking at the standings right now, and the gap between Marcus and Batman is 11 points. So, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what's gonna happen. Batman will go into the pits right now.
And I think the strikers, no. No, he's slow. Walkers is on a flying lap, but he aborts it. Sachatiste is now on a flying lap. So the teammate of Lazian, who sadly misses this race as well. Of course, that his championship dream's over, I think, because he is a very strong driver. But Sachatiste, of course, is a candidate for podium today, as for the last few races.
so far, Stretcher Tuesday has set the fastest Sector 1 time. Pretty good so far.
Yeah. Of course, still in the medium. I'm not sure because the track is really short. I think the gap between soft and medium isn't that big, but in the race, the soft is really persistent, which means that it should be really good. As Sketch still has a disconnect, which isn't good for him. And no, Stretcher Tuesday. Through the last sector, actually really nicely taken. Through the last one, which is really difficult. He had to correct his steering. But
there's always something about that last turn that just feels like something about the last turn. It just feels like I can just imagine like you're at the home stretch almost, and you're like going wheel to wheel with somebody. It kind of reminds me of Brazil 2019 when Pierre Gasly took his first podium, and he was going wheel to wheel with Lewis Hamilton.
Oh yeah, in Brazil, yeah. That was just really close. I mean, I'm not sure what the weather will be like in the race, but if we have rain, it will be interesting to see whether drivers commit to be full on the photo in the race while it rains, because you can lose so much time not be full on the photo, but you can also spin in the last corner.
We better not have something like last week happen here. I needed a week to recover from that because of how stressed out I was. I needed to recover from that. I wasn't driving, but still.
It was just
too dramatic.
It was too dramatic. I think, of course, seeing rain in the last 2 laps is just something really special, and there's different strategies, and it's just a game of poker. You can never lose, you can never win. It's just I don't know, really difficult for the drivers. I think if they have a good, clean, nice race in the dries without a safety car, I think most of them will be quite happy.
I mean, I feel like it is kind of like a gamble on what lap you're going to pit in, because like, what is it? We've seen stuff like that happen last year for some drivers, and actually, it can happen all the time when you think about it.
Yeah, not even with rain as Jensen goes fastest, but at the moment Ivo Chris is improving as well. He's in the final sector. It can happen with a safety car. If you pit, we've seen that with Sergio Perez. Pit 1 lap early, then there's a safety car, you lose out because you lose so much. You can gain so much time to pit under the safety car or virtual safety car even. Yeah, always really difficult. Ivo Chris actually only goes P3, but just behind Alan Liam, who's just behind Zienzik. Toxic Planet, I think, goes P8.
Yeah, the people that have not set laps yet are Yuji, Brian, the Walkers, and Zaymore.
The Walkers goes up to P8. We have a car spinning, no, they're actually leaving space. And Zaymore is on a flying lap right now.
But it looks like and he is not going to set a lap yet. He's gonna go back into the pits, probably just to he probably must have made an error or something. I don't know exactly what happened.
Yeah, he probably thought like it's not gonna bring him that much up the field. Therefore, as one kicking in the Williams spun. I think it was turn 2, turn 3. He's a bit in the way now. He needs to get out of the way as the Red Bull striker gets past him.
Alright, and he will be clear.
Yeah, Brian B, who is one of the drivers who haven't set the lap time in yet. He's P14 at the moment. And on the soft tire through turn 3, nicely taken. No, up to turn 5, turn 6. Actually quite a good overtake opportunity around here, because you can go different lines in turn 3 and therefore maybe try to go for an attack in turn 6. Of course the other driver needs to play his part as well. And of course for the second sector there's pretty much no chance of overtaking. Maybe around here now if you have a bad exit, and then on the way into turn, I think turn 11. A good braking point here. You can go on the inside or on the outside. Of course, the curb here is pretty difficult if you go jump over the curb. It was just, yeah, just put you
Yeah,
into
curbs
the
can be
wall.
very unforgiving in this game. Like there
Yeah.
have been times where I'm doing a qualifying lap. It was a one-shot qualifying, and you just
Oh.
you just can't hit those curbs.
Curbs, no.
I mean, in my case,
Yeah.
it's sometimes hard to not do that because maybe I found the wrong braking point or something like that.
Yeah, it's just, I think the feeling is they're so much higher now. And I mean, of course, for track limits, it's always important to have like a barrier or like actually a limit the drivers can go with. But it's just so not dangerous for us, of course, but so frustrating at some point. So next across the line, Adam Liam is improving by quite a bit. Uh, Maybe wants to get past David, who actually improved to P2. I didn't see that coming. And Adam Liam goes P2, just behind his teammate.
So it's currently a 1-2 for Alfa Romeo. For those that just joined, we are at 6 minutes left on qualifying. Stretcher Tise takes provisional pole position
Oh wow!
by
That came out of
0.2 of a second. Really nice work from him. And so we've got the top 10. The top 10 have their times at 1:10. For the bottoms, I'd say bottom 7. It's kind of like the high 1:10. Yeah,
yeah.
there's not really much else I could say.
No, not really. It is pretty close, bro. So between P2, you can say between P2 and P7 is only 2 times, and that is pretty close, I would say. We have Seymour now on a flying lap. He will hopefully finish that one, and Kacha Silva is on a flying lap as well. He actually spun off now in turn 7.
Oh no!
Goes P13.
Seymour goes P14.
Yeah, Jeffrey Love is improving. P6 at the moment. He needs just exactly another attempt to get past Evil Chris. And all the drivers in soft tires now, so the medium tires have no relevance. So,
Jeffrey Love takes
goes
P2. Impressive work from him.
Yeah, definitely. So the Walkers is on a flying lap. P9 at the moment on the medium tire, so that's quite interesting. So he actually tries to improve and maybe even to start on those medium tires. But corner is just so difficult. And he didn't see his time in his first sector.
Yeah, I can say that some corners on this track are pretty difficult. As we see, that Walker's just almost spun. There might have been a little bit of oversteer, and
Ooh,
I think maybe that was understeer that we just saw. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say too. I think understeer resulting in oversteer because he went too.
Ooh!
That was a big moment of oversteer.
These are like mini heart attack moments when you think about it. Like, I remember what is it, in the Red Bull Ring last season, Charles Leclerc was like, oh no, that was a scary one. It was one of the practice sessions, if I remember, and yeah.
I'm not sure anymore. Next one is Evil Chris. Actually talking about a Ferrari, but he's slow at the moment. Then it's Toxic Planet in the McLaren. Seymour retired on track. I think turn 10. Now crossing the line for Toxic Planet at the moment P10 jumps up to only stays P10. improves by only that little margin, and he has one more lap if he has enough fuel on board. Has Mike joined now?
Okay, Toxic Planet has decided to let Alan Liam pass, so
Yeah,
I don't think he might not be able to improve his time or not. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah.
Somebody just I don't know what happened. I was trying to pay attention, but I couldn't. And Evil Chris goes back into the pits.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Then we have Brian B. improving by 2 times after jumping up to P10. Yeah, P10 that is. David on the outlap, Patrick Silvers on the outlap. Then we have another Mercedes on the outlap. Fast drivers on the outlap. They're all on the outlap. Outlap. That Meadows fast. That Meadows the next one. 2 times. That might put him up to P6 because Evil Chris is in the pits. One that Alfa Romeo wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah, that's gonna be a problem. Hopefully, no, Batmano will unfortunately just go into the pits. I guess it was just because of the Alfa Romeo driver.
Yeah, I think so too. Toxic Planet will pit a Williams spawn, I think. Yeah, one kicking spawn. We have Walker coming out of the striker on a fast lap. He aborted his lap time, and it's Jeffrey Love in an outlap. He will actually, yeah. Oh, who's next one?
Let's see. Contra Silva's gonna be next, and is he gonna improve his? He's gonna see. He's in P13.
Brian B can't improve. We have Mr. Chris in the Haas car will improve to P7. And then it's Sachatista. Can he go for pole? No, he can't. It's David on pole. Actually, it's David on pole. Where did David come from?
Yep, David is going to be on pole. And then it's gonna be...
Not yet. It's Ciancic and then Alan Liam behind. The 2 Alfa Romeos.
Let's see, what is Ciancic gonna do? He is going to take P2. Next up is Alan Liam. Is he gonna...
P3 probably? P4
nope, he gets
only.
P4. Off by 5/100ths of a second. Not bad.
The Walker crosses the line, goes P10. Ooh, only P10. Then we have Jeffrey Love, who stays P5. And then David. Can David improve actually? No, he can't. His teammate is already through. Anyone? The last one will be Mr. Chris again, but I don't think that Mr. Chris can improve on his lap time. No, he can't.
Unfortunately, he'll stay in P7. So Stretcher Tiste will have to go into the pits at the end. And he'll stay in P3. So here will be this will be the starting grid. We've got David on pole, then Ciancic, Stretcher Tiste, Alan Liam, and then with the Aston Martin of Jeffrey Love, then the Ferrari of Evil Chris. Then we have Chris, Striker, Bat Maddow, the Walkers, Brian, Toxic Planet, Contra Silva, Ron Kicken, Zaymore, and Yuji, and I couldn't read the last few drivers.
Yeah, we have the timing table in a sec, then we can have a look on the rest of the drivers. But pretty close qualifying, and actually I must admit, really surprised for David being on pole position. Actually, and he's 1.5 tenths in front of Ciancic. Didn't see that coming, to be honest.
That is impressive work from David.
He likes this track.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marcus, of course, now in P18. Of course, he has the pace and the consistent, hopefully, to finish this race, not only in the top 10, but also top 5, maybe even on the podium, if it goes his way, this race. But of course, Pat Meadow, Evo Chris, Adam Liam, who I'm fond of him, Toxic Planet even, they all have the opportunity to score more points today.
Yeah, let's see what happens on the race. And it looks like it's a little more cloudy right now.
You're already in the screen. I still have a black screen. You were faster. Yeah, the last time we said it was a bit cloudy, it started raining. So let's wait and see.
I mean, that happened in qualifying in Portugal.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think maybe we might see rain, but I don't know for sure.
No, me neither. So the good thing is, we still have like the top 10 all drivers start on medium, on soft tires, and outside the top 10, drivers are now choosing the medium tire, which indicates me that we won't see any rain in the beginning of the race. Because if there would be rain in the beginning, they would choose the soft tire, which they of course don't. They choose the medium tire. So either there's rain to the end, or there's no rain. But let's wait and see. Formation laps starts in about 5 seconds, and then it's all about who has the cleanest start and the cleanest getaway up to turn 1, and of course not only turn 1 but more or less turn 3, because I think turn 3 actually is the better overtaking opportunity.
So yeah, the top 10 will be on soft tires, like you said, and then we got a majority of the bottom 8, I'd say. A majority of them will be on mediums, and 2 will be on softs. On your screen right now, you will see the predicted pit stop strategies. One was a one-stop strategy with a soft and then the hard, and then there was a 2-stop strategy with soft, medium, medium, I believe.
Yeah, so the one-stop strategy going from soft to medium or from medium to soft is definitely possible. Tire is very durable and you can stretch it quite long. But the pit stop, I think the delta you lose while you are pitting is only around 14 to 15 seconds, which isn't that much in comparison to time which you would gain on a fresher tire. Therefore, maybe a 2-stop is more sensible.
Yeah, I can see where you're going with that.
But wait and see. Now we might see a safety car, of course. Then that will mean that loads of drivers, especially now in the first 5 laps, if there's a safety car, the drivers. Oh, and there's already contact. Castro Silver spun out, and actually one kick-in drove into the back of him, which is really unfortunate. But
hopefully nobody has damage from that, because that is not how you want to start a race.
No, there isn't damage on in the formation lap, but I'm quite surprised that he's still in the formation lap and didn't get disqualified. Usually if you have contact, you should get disqualified. Okay. Interesting.
Maybe it was just so light that the game didn't detect it as contact.
It was pretty hard to contact.
I didn't see it. I wasn't paying attention, unfortunately.
No, I was right at the back watching the drivers, so I actually had a really good view on that. But yeah, lucky for the drivers, nothing happened, of course. And now we will wait and see what will happen when lights go out for the Netherlands Grand Prix.
And if you're just tuning in, welcome on board. We're just about to start the race. 5 lights are on. Go! Looks like everybody...
a wonderful start.
A wonderful start for pretty much everybody, almost.
Yeah, they get cleanly... Oh, that's the first contact.
Aye.
In the back. Sejatiste, no, stays P3. Evil Chris gets up to P5. Is already trying to go on the inside of Alan Liam. Spot stays P5, Alan Liam stays P4. We have Brian against Catcher Silver, P11 against P12. Marcus
is already gaining positions. Marcus is already getting positions. He's up to he's up to P15 after going through, I'd say, before half the track. There's the pit stop strategy again. So it's soft, medium actually.
Yeah. So you see they got past Ciancic, as Evil Chris will get past Alan Liam on the inside of turn 10. Now the Ferrari against the Alfa Romeo, and Evil Chris against Alan Liam. Who will stay ahead? It will be Evil Chris staying ahead of Alan Liam for the moment. No, Alan Liam goes for the switch back, and now Evil Chris will stay ahead in P4. As I think Marcus is fighting against Mike. Marcus on the outside of Mike in the last corner. Oh, there's contact. There's big contact for Marcus. Ooh, was pretty close, but no damage.
There was also, I think there may have been some problems that happened at the back because Ron Kicken has retired from the session.
Yeah. And I think he spun out in the last corner. And that Mato against Alan Liam, and that Mato got spun out by Alan Liam. If I'm not, correct.
And Toxic Planet
now.
Yep. Toxic Planet is going into the pits and he's going for the hards. So I'm guessing he might have gone for the one-stop strategy, which was the soft hard.
Which definitely means, of course, that I think there will be no rain.
And now there was a new predicted pit stop strategy that was shown on the screen. This is the one on top still showed soft and hard, but the second one is also a one-stop strategy, which was a medium hard. So it's going to be interesting to see how these changed strategies are going to affect how the drivers are going to get through the race.
Yeah. Also a factor on this side is the DRS train. Actually, just 2 DRS straights, which aren't pretty long, but because the track is so short, we don't lose that much time. We've seen it in qualifying, and therefore Catcher Silver spun out last corner. We talked about it in qualifying, that it's so easy to spin out. I was on board with Catcher Silver, and he just lost his car. There was nothing he could have done about that.
Yeah, I'll admit I've done that. I've spun a couple of times on that last corner. I think it was just because I think I might have just either steered too much or just should have eaten a little bit. Either way, it's gonna happen if you're new to these type of games. And apparently I'm watching the camera on Cacha Silva and the helmet is not modeled correctly. It's not even modeled at all. It's just invisible. All you see is the head sock.
Yeah, for me too actually. But that could just be because he actually joined in qualifying. Let's look at Mike. For him it's the same.
I can't tell right now.
Fighting. Ooh, Walker lost 2 positions against Brian B and his teammate because he probably has spun out or like had a mistake out of a corner. Marcus is now right behind Seymour, so he wants to get past him. And I think Brian B will now go for an overtake. And on Striker, yes, he will. He's closest driver. And Brian B goes for P8 and gets in front of the 2 Red Bulls.
Nice work from Brian. He's shown a lot of good performance when it comes to racing. Because like last week we saw him get the win in Austria. It was also, I will say, it was also a bit of luck, but with the skill he managed to pull it together as well.
Yeah, you always need that because he was on the dry tire still, and he had to. I think he was on dry tire, yeah. And he needed that skill to actually do not do any mistakes. Because I think Bad Matter was on the intermediate, trying to get past him. And now Marcus got past Seymour and he's now trying to fight UG 4P12. UG gets a bit wide. And I think Marcus will get past him now into turn 11 and he gets
Yes, he does.
Hits the breaking point and gets up to P12 already. So 2 more positions than he's in the points. Alan Liam is behind Evil Chris. Evil Chris
is currently sandwiched between the 2 Alfa Romeos. And let's see, Alan Liam is catching up to Evil Chris. And
next one out. And then
Seymour has spun.
Actually just spun. So same corner as Catcher Silver. He tries to turn around. Yeah. Important for drivers now, just stay on track. There will be a safety car. Ryuji spun now, turn 1. There will probably be a safety car. On this track it's pretty easy to crash into a wall. I think the wall is pretty close next to the track, but yeah, only 5 laps gone. That's what the 7th of the entire race.
Yeah, 5 laps have passed, and currently the top 10 looks like this. We got David still in first place. Pretty nice work from him. Stretcher Tisei is catching up to him. Then we got Cienzik, Evil Chris, and Alan Liam with an Ferrari. So it's Alfa Romeo, Ferrari, Alfa Romeo. Then we got Jeffrey Love, Mr. Chris, Brian, Stryker, and then the Walkers. So the 2 Red Bulls are at the top 10. And yeah, that's the top 10 for right now. Yeah. In the top 10, Brian is the only one with the medium tires. Alan Liam will have DRS, and he passes Evil Chris. So it's currently P3 and P4 for Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, and that's important because actually Alan Liam lost the DRS to the Alfa Romeo in front of him, and now it's important now for Alan Liam to actually get towards Cienzik again now to actually try to go for an overtake or to get into the DRS window again, because it helps to save ERS and fuel. And in the back we have Marcus closing in to Mike, who is in P11. I mean, for Marcus it's just all about getting through and getting as much points as possible. Good for him. The 2 McLarens are behind him.
You know, I would not be surprised if Marcus ends up getting driver of the day if he keeps up this performance. He's definitely gonna get driver of the day, because like this is just miraculously. This is just a miracle. This would be like a miracle for anybody else, but I think for Marcus, it's just like, I'm just doing my job.
Yeah, I mean, you could have the perfect race. P1 start finish win. Fastest lap. You could lead every lap and win by 30 seconds. You would still not get driver of the day if somebody else overtakes 5 people. So yeah. Marcus now is closing in to Mike bit by bit. So I think Mike is getting hold up by the 2 Red Bulls. Looks like it.
Yeah, I think he is getting held up by those 2 Red Bulls, because like you see that he's pretty. You can tell that he's trying his hardest he's trying to come up with a plan to overtake the 2 Red Bulls, but the problem is it's just that this track is just not easy for that type of thing.
Yeah, and
there's gonna be there is gonna be a DRS train though.
Yeah, but the 2 Red Bulls have nearly exactly the same amount of ERS, which is about 8 times more than what Mike has. And now, actually, Marcus is just behind Mike, and I think Marcus will have a good opportunity to overtake Mike.
To the final corner they go.
Ooh, don't press ERS in that corner. I always do that mistake. That's why I'm spinning out.
I'll keep that in mind whenever I play this track again.
So the Walkers get past Striker. I think that was necessary, because I think Walkers can go a better pace. Or about placing the car. Maybe Striker has a damage from wing damage. Could be, but doesn't seem like. I know they are really, really close together. All 4 of them in about 5 attempts.
Yeah, this 4-way battle for P9 is actually really interesting to see, because like,
yeah.
And I think what's funny is it's funny to see that like the only one that doesn't have the helmet on it doesn't have the helmet modeled is Mike, as what is it? Mike actually passed Stryker, and
now. Yeah, Marcus stays behind. Of course, he knows that he can't risk anything. That's the difference now. He needs to stay focused, concentrated, and go bit by bit.
No, he spins!
Just talking about it. Okay.
And Bad Mano currently passes him.
Yeah. In the front, it stays David in front of Estejatiste, in front of Cienzik. They don't really change. I think they're just gonna wait until the first pit stops. I think if they go into lap 13, lap 14, lap 15, they will go into a 1-stop. It got a bit brighter now, so sunlight comes through, gets warmer now the track. maybe drivers' tires a bit overheating now. Could be a problem for some. Mr. Chris is behind Jeffrey Love with Brian B. We just talked about him on the medium tire. Just behind him, Brian B. Of course, then with the soft tire in the end of the race, which could be an advantage for him.
Well, at least it's a good thing it's not going to rain for hopefully the rest of the race.
Yeah. Let's wait until the last 2 laps until we say anything.
If something like that happens again, I am gonna freak out.
Yeah, we're gonna just stop the stream and say no, no, thank you.
Oh, jeez.
But it's getting quite juicy up there. So if Ciancic thinks, oh, he could go faster, just go for an undercut. But maybe he decides to go for a 2-stop. Let's say Ciancic pits the slap. Let's look at it at the gap he has. If Ciancic would pit now, he will come out in front of that Meadow with about, let's say, 5 seconds, 4 seconds to Striker, which means that he has a good gap towards Striker. Maybe he pits for a soft tire, pushes hard, go for an undercut, and then go for a medium tire at the end of the stint.
Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty aggressive strategy, but it could work for Ciancic and pretty much anybody that has the that type of strategy. It's all a matter of execution when you think about it, because like it's just you're just putting your mind into it's kind of like I guess it's just like a mind game in a way.
Yeah, I mean the problem is if you get behind, let's say Mike and Walker, you need to get past them really quick. And now I think actually Ciancic is pretty close to David. And can he go for a move? No,
he cannot.
Better of it. But I think he doesn't want to go for a move. If he wants to go for a move, he would have already done it, I think. I think he stays behind him, and then in the second stint, he will go for a move. As Mr. Chris goes past Jeffrey Love with Brian B still behind those two. But I think there's a good chance of Brian B to get good points today. Marcus fastest lap, which shows his potential.
Yep, currently in P12 after starting in P18. Yeah, he's doing pretty good. He's got to close that 7-second gap, and just charge at Striker. It might not be easy though, because Marcus is currently Marcus is on the medium tires, and what is it? Striker's on the soft tires. As Yuji spun,
but all fine, no safety car. But of course now the medium tire gets better. That's why I think Brian B will have a good chance of actually trying to go for an overtake. But yeah, let's see. Of course, safety car now would help the soft drivers. I'm not sure when the pit window opens. I think lap 13, I said. And then.
And Evil Chris goes into the pits.
Chris now. Sky still has disconnect. The Walker's in the pits as well, so Evil Chris onto a medium tire. The Walker's onto a medium tire as well. So that could already be the 1-stop. Maybe. Could be the 2-stop as well. With a soft tire at the end of the stint. I think David still does a really good job. I mean, all of them three in front. No mistakes so far, nothing, no heroics into any corners. Pretty calm, no overtakes. They just push each other, because the gap to Alan Liam is already 5 seconds. Just pretty amazing, concerning Alan Liam's pace usually.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, because like the top 3 have kept it together so far. Have they stayed that way ever since the start of the race, or did like I can't remember if Ciancic started in 3rd place or not.
I don't know if you've seen that as Mr. Chris and Alan Niemann in the pits. I think Ciancic wanted to go for a move and just about didn't. I think that was really close. There could have been contact, but there wasn't.
Oh wait, you were talking about Stretcher Tissé and...
Yeah, and David.
Oh, I had the camera on those 3, but I just didn't pay attention.
pretty close, but nothing happened, thankfully. But I think So Batista is about to go into the pit, that's why he wants to get past David. And it seems like Cience can't go quite a pace at top row, but he still stays in the DRS window.
And if you're just joining us, welcome aboard. We are currently racing in the Netherlands. It's currently lap 13 out of 36. As we see the top three, David, Sergio and Cienzik. Okay, so David and Sergio go into the pits. Cienzik stays out. David goes with the medium tires. And Sergio also goes with medium tires.
So everybody except Mr. Chris actually went for the hard tire, which is pretty interesting. And now David stays in P5, Sergio P6. Marcus against Sergio maybe for P6.
Yep, it's gonna be Marcus because it's gonna be Marcus against Stretcher Tuesday.
Well, of course Marcus with the older tire, but a warmer tire of course now. But now of course David Sergio will go for an undercut against Cience, and I think Cience will fall behind Marcus. Wow, Marcus nearly spun again. Went on the grass.
Yeah, when you go into the grass, especially when it's wet, you're gonna have problems. Because, like, we've seen that happen with George Russell at Imola last year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's always... especially if you brake on the grass, and of course your rear tires will spin more than you actually want them to, which means that you actually spin off. And Cience is in the pits.
What's he gonna go for? He's gonna go for the medium compound tires.
Jeffrey Love as well. And now we have Brian B again in the lead in front of Mike. And then it will be David, Sergio, and now Marcus against Cience. Cience had a really good lap. He will come out just behind Sergio.
I'd say it's pretty solid that you build a gap strong enough to get in P5. If you're in P1, Cienzik had there was like an 8-second gap between him and whoever was behind him. I think it might have been
his teammate.
Yeah,
actually was behind him. Actually, I mean, of course now everybody was in the pits except of 3 drivers, which are Brian B, Mike, and Marcus at the front of the pack, and then of course Cato Silva and Seymour haven't been into the pits already. So of course those 5 people still need to pit. Then of course you don't know whether the other drivers will pit again. It's still interesting. And now Sergio will want to get past David. Nope. Doesn't. Maybe does on the outside of David.
Goes on the outside, and he does not. David. Unfortunately, does not get past David, but he does set the fastest lap of the race so far.
Yeah. But good job from David. I think it was all fair. Didn't push him out of there, but defended his position. So good fight from him. Since he of course wants to stay P1. And I know why Sergio wants to get past, because he wants to be the first one actually getting behind Mike and Brian B. Because imagine David getting past Mike and Sergio don't. He will lose so much time.
Yeah, this will be interesting to see. And yeah. So that three-way battle for P3, as Yuji gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And he's decided to retire into the pits.
And now Cience will want to get past Sergio Artiste, but probably can't, because Sergio Artiste will defend his position pretty nicely. Oh, and a touch, and they keep it on track. Oh good, nothing happened.
Yeah.
Well, it's getting closer now with nearly half of the race finished. We are in lap 17 of 36.
Yeah. And that three-way battle's been lasting for quite a while, and I think it's gonna stay like this, cause like these racers, these three, they recently pitted, so we won't see any of them pitting anytime soon, considering that they all have a relatively fresh set of tires.
Yeah, the only thing which could happen, because they're fighting quite hard at the moment, Chris already gained 8 tenths on the last lap, with Adam Liam just behind him. So they shouldn't fight too hard, otherwise it will be a 5-way battle.
Oh boy, a 5-way battle is gonna be interesting, cause like, we've seen that happen in... Yeah.
But he keeps his position, now. Ooh, it will be close. Oh, it will
there may be contact. No, it's not Alan. Sienzik backs off again.
Yeah, I mean, he can't overtake there, let's be honest. That's a pretty... You really need to be like a car length in front to overtake in this corner, because of the curbs. And yeah, it shouldn't be a place to overtake, and actually not a place to try overtaking, because not as a reserve driver, no. You shouldn't risk it. Fighting is let's see. Well, they aren't as fast as I predicted in comparison to Mike. So Mike can still stay in front. So if there's a safety car, let's say in around 2 laps, Brian will be on a soft tire. Mike will be on a soft tire, and then actually I think David, Shatis, and Sienzik will actually also go into a soft tire, which means that Brian will be in P1 again.
If that happens, that's gonna be interesting, because like Brian's been pretty solid. We've seen Brian's solid performance in Austria last week, and we've seen it, and we're currently seeing it today as well, actually.
Yeah, he's pretty consistent, and with overtaking being a bit difficult around here, that definitely helps. Of course. As the Volkers get past Mr. Chris. Marcus actually pitted for a fresh medium tire, which is a bit unusual. I would have thought he went for a soft tire, but that means that we will see Marcus a second time in the pits, which is pretty unusual. Maybe he selected the wrong tire. Naja.
Well, currently, Marcus and Batman are out of the points score right now, points positions right now. So
yeah. At least for Marcus and Batman, it's good that like either one of them isn't gaining any points.
Yeah, considering how intense, considering how like I'm starting to feel a little tense, because seeing the standings and the gap is like, you know, just anything could happen. I feel like something is bound to happen at some point if these two were in the points positions. But
yeah, well,
it's not happening right now. Yeah.
Mr. Chris gets past Walkers again. Yep, he will. I mean, third in the standings is Evo Chris, but at the moment Evo Chris in P7 isn't gaining that much points. P4 is the Walkers, who's actually in P10, and P5 is Toxic Planet, who is actually bottom last, as Marcus gets past Striker for P12. And then Adam Liam is in P6, who's actually in P6 at the moment. So nobody of the front is actually gaining any points. With Kiko in P7 actually isn't here to race today because he has an assignment tomorrow. So pretty interesting actually. With the top 3, let's say the top 4 with Sienzik being a reserve driver, top 4, not really in contention for the championship, but still up there.
Yeah,
ooh, and actually Batista Spawn lost the front wing. No, we just talked about him, how good he done. Ooh.
He's gonna have to go to a pit.
Oh, I probably just risked getting past David. I think he just I didn't see it. I think he just risked too much. Probably.
He's going for soft tires and a new front wing. He'll come back on track. Is he gonna stay ahead of Zaymor?
Yeah. He should be, because he's cutting the corner now, turn 1, and he should stay in front because he has a fresh soft tire. Ooh, bit of oversteer on the exit, but still just about stays in front of Seymour. But really unfortunate for him, of course, because he was so good in P2 virtually, and now on the soft tires he will go to the end of the race, but yeah, he needs to fight back.
It's going to be a bit of a stretch for Stretcher T-Stay to stay in those soft compound tires, no pun intended, as Mike gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. But
yeah, and now David is on the back of Mike actually, and I think next lap he will go for an overtake.
probably because David's got that has the fresher tires.
Yeah, the DRS and actually more ERS. So there's just nothing to lose for David in this move. And Brian B actually is only 1.3 seconds in front, so actually Mike reduced the gap from 3.3 seconds to actually only 1.3 seconds in the last 10 laps, which is actually pretty amazing. But of course he now got a time penalty, which isn't that good.
I still can't take it seriously with the fact that the helmet for Mike is not modeled in.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty dangerous driving, isn't it?
Exactly. I mean, I think I can't remember if if it's happened recently where someone took a headstock off in their car. I think I remember the last time that happened was Mark Webber when he finished his final race. But but Webber was on a slow lap when that happened, so I guess that's kind of a pass, but it's not the safest thing to do, especially when you don't, especially when you don't have a halo.
David, around the outside, bold move, goes well. P1 for David. Sorry to interrupt you.
That's all good. And Brian B goes onto the soft compound tires.
Yeah, 13 laps to go. He will definitely go into the end. That will be interesting to see how much he can gain towards the drivers in front of him on the fresher tire. And good for David. He has Mike between him and Jensik for the lead. Mike definitely needs to pit this lap or next lap. It goes for the fastest lap of the race on those fresh soft tires.
Marcus is currently in P9 and Bad Mato is currently in P11, so it is going to be interesting to see those two fight it out, if they do fight it out for the rest of the race.
Yeah, the only thing is that Marcus still needs to pit. Marcus started on those medium tires. He now is on a fresh medium tire. Marcus still needs to pit for a soft tire. Yeah, I'm not really sure what strategy he is on, but I don't think that without a safety car, Marcus will actually point today, as Mike is in the pits. Which means that we have two Alfa Romeos on the podium.
Yeah. So, David in front of the two Alfa Romeos, and then we got the Ferrari of Evil Chris, who is 1 second behind Alan Liam, who is 5.5 seconds behind the other two podium standers, which are David and Cienzik.
Yeah.
Sergio Tizé sets the fastest lap again. Interesting and impressive work from him, as Kachasova pits for the soft tires.
Yeah, it's all about now getting those tires to the end. 12 laps remaining is just flying laps at the moment, because I don't think that out of the top 8 anybody with stops are done now. 12 laps before the end. Marcus needs to pit, doesn't have any choice, and the rest, maybe except for Toxic Planet, because he's still on the hard tire, 21 laps old. He may pit for fresh soft tire, but Marcus actually is the only one who needs to pit. And Brian is so fast on those soft tires, but he needs to preserve his ERS. He needs to be careful. Marcus in the pit. That's what I've been talking about. He will fall behind Sergio Tizé. That's P13, and he has a whole lot of work to do.
But knowing his aggressive style, he could at least score some points at the end.
Sergio Tizé again. her fastest lap, 2 times still faster. So it's actually the fastest driver on track at the moment. Really pushing hard. He's close to the points, only 5 seconds away from the points. Actually P9. And with Mr. Chris and Battle on those hard tires, there's still a chance for Statista and Marcus to actually get into the points.
Yeah, they're just gonna, those guys are just gonna give it everything now with those soft, fresh tires. Especially Marcus, knowing his aggressive personality. And I will say, I mean, like, Marcus's strategy, he is like a pretty aggressive driver. I will say that's pretty good, but when you're aggressive like that, there is going to be a risk of spinning out. Marcus, that's happened a couple of times.
Yeah,
and
a couple of times. But I think at the moment he has nothing to lose because he's way out of the points, P13, about 10 seconds away from the points. I mean, 10 laps remaining, there's actually nothing to lose for him, except of pushing hard and trying to reduce the gap as far as possible. Because, I mean, just driving around and hoping for somebody to retire, I think 10 laps before the end is a bit too late. I think everybody's in the flow now. We had no safety car, no virtual safety car. The drivers are in the flow, which is really good to see them do that. And
yeah, not a lot of penalties have been given to most of the drivers.
Yeah, I think actually I think that two penalties. Yeah, I thought same about the 5-second penalty, but it didn't. Yeah, I think actually pretty good dive from all of them. Yeah, pretty amazing. It's nice to have a clean, unspectacular race after such fantastic races we had in the past. And now Brian B will go for an overtake.
Yeah, I can agree with you on how it's nice to have a kind of a, I mean, I guess you could somewhat say relaxing in a way, but at the same time I'm not entirely sure if it's relaxing, but like, it's much more calm, to the very least. It's much more calm than the races we've seen all season.
Yeah, I think it's good for drivers that they have a predictable race, because with rain, safety cars, crashes, whatever, it's just unpredictable with strategy you're on. And with such a race, you know one strategy, soft, medium, soft, and then you can push, and then you know which lap times you need to have, and yeah, it's so much easier. Brian B now 6 seconds gap to Evil Chris, and then it's the podium, just in front of him. That would be amazing for Brian if he gets another podium. Evil Chris, let me look at the standings, but of course I think he can actually jump up to P2 if it stays like that.
It is entirely possible that Evil Chris could take the podium position from Alan Liam.
Yeah, it's been pretty close the whole race. They had quite a similar pace. Oh, sorry. What's the standing? Actually, how many points do you get for P4? Will be 12 points. So, Evil Chris won't take P1 from his teammate. However, he will jump up to P2, just in front of Bat Meadow, and 5 points behind his teammate. If it stays like that, catch a silver. Retired in pits. Okay. Statista isn't on the podium. Who is David? David is at the moment winning this race, and with 25 points to his account, he will jump up to P7 actually, from P15 to P7, which would be amazing for him.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, David's done a pretty solid performance, holding that position. From the beginning of this race, he started at pole position. He's currently in first place, but Cienzik is giving it everything as well, chasing him down.
Yeah, and now Evil Chris actually is in DRS window of Adam Liam. That's what we've been talking about. Brian B already gained a second, so there's still all to fight for him. Actually, it was Jeff Willoff keeping up the pace behind him, so if Brian B actually catches the two in front of him, he might have Jeff Willoff and Mike just behind him, so maybe a 5-way fight for the podium.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see because like Brian B, he has the softer, fresher tires, so it might be possible for him to take a podium from both Evil Chris and Alan Liam, as Evil Chris still stays in that DRS window. They're gonna be approaching the last two corners in a little bit. Make sure that you don't spin out or run too wide.
Yeah. Looking at the points position, P10 down to P13 to Marcus. So Marcus keeps his gap. Statista actually closes him down. Statista is actually on the back of Euro Striker, so for P11. So Marcus still has the chance to get at least 1, maybe even 2 points. Or 4 maybe, even with Mr. Quiz. Maybe even 4 points.
Yeah, that'd be nice. What else?
I think actually Brian B will have problems at the end of the race with his tires being a bit more used than the medium. We can see it at the moment he can't really close down the gap to under 5 seconds. So maybe it's just a fight for P5. And then of course between Evo Chris and Adam Liam it's a fight for P3. And then of course I don't think that reserve drivers will get any points. So I think both drivers will be on the podium as Seymour retired in pits. Not sure with the reserve driver who gets points.
Yeah, Evil Chris is still chasing down Alan Liam. He will have DRS again. And there's a yellow flag on Sector 1.
Yeah, that's Seymour retiring. We got Evil Chris passing Alan Liam into turn 1. We got Statista just passing Euro Striker, pretty aggressive. Marcus getting a time penalty, which is which is usual for him, but really unfortunate now because now his chances of getting into the point position is getting much more difficult, as Walker's got a penalty as well.
Yeah, I can imagine like when you get like a penalty or a warning or something like that, it can put some pressure on you because like you gotta remember you gotta focus on like not making that same mistake, and I guess when you got a lot going on your head, it could cause problems. It's gonna give you a lot of stress.
Yeah, I mean it's either that or you just lose so much pace because you're thinking about it, trying to be more careful as Mike gets past his teammate, probably even lets his teammate pass him. Yeah, you just lose so much space. And I had that in a league race last Sunday, or yesterday I had it in a league race in Australia. I was so focused on not making any mistakes. My pace was okay, but it was just like half a time slower than, oh and no, it's Cientic spun.
Oh no.
Turn 2. Which means, oh where's Evil Chris? I mean Evil Chris is quite far behind, and Liam is just behind Evil Chris. Cientic has hot tires now, but he will keep P2. Not sure whether there was any contact because the two were fighting.
I guess Cientic is kind of lucky that he had a big gap behind him, so that he doesn't have to worry about losing his podium place. And yeah, I think it's also going to put less pressure on David because that increased the gap.
Yeah, let's say 4 laps remaining, 4.5 laps remaining now. With this track being so short, we have a lap time of 1:11, I think. Let's see, we can say on David what his lap time is now. There's no way Cientic can close down that lead again. Except, of course, David makes a mistake, which I don't think he will do, because he didn't make a mistake beforehand. He does 1:14.3, which is 1.5 seconds slower than his fastest lap time, which could be because they were fighting for position. Adam Liam behind Evo Chris. Adam Liam won't get past Evo Chris. Evo Chris needs to save fuel. He's not the only one. Also, Jeffrey Love needs to save some fuel.
So, with 3 laps remaining, the top 10 currently looks like this. We've got URL David, then we got Cientic, Evil Chris. Currently, David has a 10-second gap ahead of Evil Chris. Then we got Alan Liam chasing down Evil Chris. See if he can secure that podium position. Then we got Brian, Mike, Jeffrey, Mr. Chris, Batmado, and then the Walkers, which is the top 10. Marcus, currently in P13, might not be able to get points, but we'll see what happens at the end of this race. Batmado is going to be keeping it together, staying in P9. He's going to have to be able to hold that position for a while to at least score some points to decrease that gap from the championship.
Jeffrey Love spinning. Jeffrey Love spinning.
Loses his front. Jeffrey Love loses his front wing, and is struggling to get back on track.
Yeah, which of course now puts Socialist into the points, and yeah, which is pretty important for him because he was actually quite good in P7, so no stress from behind. And I think the only interesting fight now is between Alan Liam and Evil Chris on the podium, and he's got Batmado against Mr. Chris for P7 actually now. It's 2.5 laps remaining for David.
I think what I find funny is that Evil Chris and Marcus are kind of like... I can't think of like a driver pair that would be like this, but I think it would be like almost like if Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen were in the same team.
Yeah.
Evil Chris would be like Lewis Hamilton, who's like a really good driver, but he's like calm and stuff. And then Marcus is just aggressive, just really aggressive, as Alan Liam passes Evil Chris.
Yeah, and I didn't notice that. I said earlier this race, I said maybe Brian B's tires won't last until the end. He's just behind Evil Chris now, 1.4 seconds. He closed down the gap without me noticing it. And he's got Mike just behind him. And there's just 1.5 laps, actually just one chance remaining for the drivers to overtake, which will be the start finish straight on the next lap. So Evil Chris needs to push, get close to Alan Liam again. Alan Liam of course needs to push to get as far away as possible from Evil Chris. And yeah, we've got Brian B just about over a second away, so he needs to maybe hope for a penalty for one of them. And I think Evil Chris actually is too far behind to actually go for an overtake. Actually now he's outside the 1 second window.
If Evil Chris can close that gap just enough, and he doesn't, so he will not have DRS.
Yeah,
and neither will Brian. Brian will not have DRS as well. And yeah, this is the last lap of the race. If you're just tuning in, we're just about to finish the Dutch Grand Prix. David is still in first place. I think first place is pretty much secured for him.
He is. He only lost P1 once this race, which was because he pitted as the planet actually spun again. Yeah, David just, what a fantastic race he's been doing today. Putting it on pole, making no mistakes at all, which is pretty impressive on a track like Sanford. And he's now into the final sector, last few corners. Just keep it cool, keep it simple, don't risk anything. Fast lap goes to Jeffrey Love, of course he's outside the top 10. I think he will still get the point, but still... Oh, I said no risk.
David almost lost it, but yeah, he's weaving around and he's celebrating that first place victory. Yeah, congratulations to David. And Siezik, was that Siezik that slammed into the wall?
Yeah,
Did you,
yeah.
You saw that, right?
Yeah.
Oh man.
So I'm Liam and P3 because no fuel remaining on the last lap. P4 Brian B actually really good again. He went from P11 to P5. Brian B, really good race.
Miss Chris will be in P6. Batmado will be in P7. Stretch Tise will be in P8. Mike P9. Walker's P10. Striker and Marcus will be P11 and P12. Jeffrey Love is will be finishing his lap in a little bit. Tux Planet's already done because he was lapped, and Jeffrey Love will just go to the last corner to take P13.
He has the fastest lap, so that will be good for him. Yeah, and that was the race from Stanford.
And driver of the day goes to Mike.
Yeah, because of course Marcus did have that 2 stops, which did put him behind by quite a far bit. And Mike done a great job actually with B with the soft tires. I think both of them actually deserved the place where they finished.
But yeah, David, congratulations to him. He was he had a pretty clean performance overall. No
Yeah,
penalties and no major incidents. He was holding that
take nothing.
he was holding that P1 for a while.
Then of course great respect to the top 3 in general. So David, Jancic, and of course the Statiste. They weren't fighting at all in the first time, which I find really like that's real racecraft. Noticing you have the same pace, you're just gonna push each other, don't attack, don't fight, don't lose any time, and then just wait and see. And then in the second stint they fought quite hard, which was good and not good at some points. But I think in general David definitely deserved that win today. He fought for it, he had good pace, and he showed what he's capable to do.
So, on your screen right now, you are seeing the final results of the race. Well done to all the drivers, especially David, for keeping it together, keeping us cool. And, yeah, once again, I want to thank you all for tuning in today for United Racing League on our YouTube channel. This has been Division 8 of Season 4. And, would you like to add anything else, or...?
No, I'm just happy as it is. I hope you tune in, as you already said, and see you. Oh no, see you actually in 2 weeks. We have a break week now. See you in 2 weeks for Division 8.
Yep. Thank you all for watching, everybody, and we shall see you next time.